Felicia Ann Garrett. Wow, I love talking to Felicia. It's interesting. She talks about breath work, and I took a deep breath when I said her name. She works with people working on breath, working on emotional energy healing and transformational coaching. How she got here is very interesting. Lots of great energy she has, very, very open and honest and genuine about how she got here. And she talks about elemental purification and trapped emotions. And it's just really, the time went by so quick. We talked for more than an hour, but her view on discipline, very, very interesting. How she kind of fights against it. Her husband is a very structured man, and she longs and wants freedom, and she sees collision there, but still loves it at the same time. But just a great conversation with Felicia. Such great energy, really fascinating, so open. When I ask her what she's changed her mind on in the last month, what a wonderful answer. I wonder if you'll be surprised. Really great conversation with Felicia. I thank her so much for it. Thank you for listening and watching. Hi, I'm Joey Pinz, and here's my 45-second introduction. After starting my business in the 90s, I started developing poor habits of eating in my diet because of working way too much. Before you know it, I found myself 340 pounds. The doctor told me if I don't lose the weight, I'm not going to see my daughter graduate. Took the next 7 months, lost 130 pounds. People think there's some secret. Ask me, how'd you lose that weight? Like there's some secret. There is no secret. How'd I lose the weight? Just one word: discipline. I've had other successes in life, and I attribute them all to discipline. Now, I'm not the king of discipline, but I believe that it can help all of us. Friends, colleagues convinced me to start a podcast. The podcast mission: how do we better ourselves and society? I talk to interesting people in health, fitness, sport, wellness, business, technology, science, art, and culture. And I eventually ask them how discipline plays a role in their life. Podcast vision: growth through learning from others. Like I said, you're really good at it, Felicia and Garrett. How did you get into kickboxing?
When I looked back over the notes that I sent you, I said, is this really true?
Is it?
Well, I do love kickboxing, and my husband is really into it, and he's done different martial art things I can't even pronounce, like stuff I can't pronounce.
There's many.
But
Yeah.
I like kickboxing, and so but I can only do it in like the group setting.
I see.
So I'm not kickboxing anyone, it's just the bag. And so we have these kickboxing set up in the backyard, and he purchased this app where we can go uppercut, left, right, kick.
Nice.
It's so fun. It's so fun.
It is a
So
nice
I do
tension
like that.
reliever.
So I enjoy it, but I can't really say that I'm a kickboxer. You know what I mean?
Right.
I do it in a group setting.
You don't compete, but you do it with the group.
I don't compete, but I love the cardio of it
Mm.
and the exercise and the quick thinking that you have to, you know what I mean, to do. So
I
I
really
do.
like classes. It doesn't matter what it is when you're working out as a class like that. It just helps so much, doesn't it?
It helps so much. So now I haven't been doing kickboxing for the last, I don't know, maybe a month and a half. So now I'm doing cycling.
Ah.
Have you ever done cycling?
Yeah, we used to call it spin. Do they not call
Spin.
it?
Oh,
Yeah.
I've never done it before. So my daughter works at the YMCA. So I said, you know what? I need to do something else. So I went to half of their classes just to see what I liked. Cycling is amazing.
It's fun.
It is so fun. I didn't know how out of shape I was
Mm.
until I started cycling. And I realized, oh my gosh, my stamina is not as strong as I thought it was, you
Hmm.
know? So now that I'm back into it, every class gets easier. And the music just makes it off the chain. So when I'm cycling, I'm like, I'm getting unstuck. I'm reaching my goals. I'm getting faster and closer. And
Wow.
I kind of do it in my head. And that really does give me momentum. So I be having my own thing going on in my head while they're
Hmm.
cycling. I am climbing mountains and reaching goals
Good
and
for you.
all of that.
In this fast-paced MSP landscape, how do you stay ahead? Introducing MSPinfluencer.com, your ultimate hub for MSP news, insights, and community connection powered by ForzaDash. More than 75,000 MSPs subscribe to our MSP Influencer Pulse weekly newsletter, staying informed and ahead of industry trends. Tune in to emerging podcasts from Joey Pinz and leading MSP voices, offering essential tips, powerful insights, and success stories. Explore our multi-authored blogs, crafted specifically for MSP leaders, delivering fresh perspectives and actionable strategies. Celebrate excellence with the industry-leading ForzaDash MSP Influencer Awards, recognizing innovation, leadership, and impact in the MSP community. Join thousands of MSP professionals who trust MSPinfluencer.com to grow their business and expand their networks. MSPinfluencer.com, where today's MSP leaders connect, collaborate, and conquer, all powered by the ForzaDash platform, helping MSP vendors work effectively with MSPs and helping MSPs grow. And how does your knowledge and expertise and training and breath work help with the exercise and spin and cycling and things like that?
So much.
Really?
First of all, emotionally wise, I will be honest, I do not love exercising. I don't really like it,
Mm,
honestly. If I was just to totally base it off of how I feel, I wouldn't exercise.
mm,
But because I know how good it is for the body, I know how
right.
good I feel after it's over. I know the importance of it in maintaining my health and well-being. I'm darn near knocking on 50. I'll be 49 this year.
Mm,
So I'm realizing how my body doesn't have that same bounce back as it used to have back in the day. So this is required of me to do exercising. And so emotionally wise, I really have to really, I don't know, can we cuss here? I really have
of
to say
course.
fuck my feelings. And I have to do what is good for my body. So when I'm
Mm,
feeling those feelings that I don't want to go to class, I always project ahead. What do I want to feel? How do I want to feel in my body? How is this going to help me accomplish my goals? How is this going to help me overcome it? And so I have to put my feelings on the back shelf
mm.
and I have to push through it. And I do a lot of mental exercise in the class because when I first started, I promise you I want to walk out because it's full of 60 plus year old people at the
Wow.
YMCA, and those people are getting it,
Hmm.
and so I come in class and I'm like huffing, puffing, sweating, and I left class the first time when I started a month ago. I literally had tears in my eyes, like I didn't realize how out of shape I was, and I just wanted to cry and never go back again. But mentally, I have to push past my feelings, really get my mind into a zone and do that. And breath work helps in the sense of I'm able to maintain my breath. For one, breath work journeys and what I offer is on a totally different, scale, but you can still use that ability to control your breath in the exercising routine. And so doing things like breath work journeys really do help with cardio and, things like that.
I always said the hardest part is, going, getting up, putting the clothes on and going there.
Oh,
Then
yes.
doing it is tough, but the best part is when you're walking away, how
When you
good you
walk
feel.
out.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes. And
That's the
now
best.
it's here in Texas, it's getting pretty chilly. And so when the last few days, weeks, when I'm drenched in sweat and then
Mm,
I walk out and I feel that cold air,
mm,
hitting me, and it's just the best feeling. And I'm like, I did it and I can do that again. It's actually kind of fun. But in the middle of doing it, sometimes it is, exercise has always been somewhat of a struggle for me, honestly. If I be
mm,
honest,
mm,
it's not something that I love to do.
mm. I try to I get my clothes out, for the morning. I make it as frictionless as possible to kind
Yeah.
of fool myself to get out the door because that's the hardest, that's
Yeah.
the hardest
But
part.
I was reading your thing of how you lost 130 pounds.
Yeah, I lost a lot of weight. Yeah,
That's
and
freaking
I,
amazing. I'm
I
trying
s-
to lose 20. And
yeah, yeah, I still feel that 340 pound guy inside me trying to get out every once in a while, though, Felicia. And
no way.
yeah, I
What
gotta
does it
keep
feel
him
like? What do you mean when you say that?
because I want to eat. I want to eat a lot. I want to not work out. I want to go back to some old habits. And
Yeah.
um, like you said, it's good for your body.
Yeah.
I mean, get your brain out of the way and,
Mhm.
let your body do
Yeah.
what it
But
wants to
you
do.
have even more of a motivation in the sense of you have this podcast.
That's
You
right.
put on the description of your podcast, I lost this 130 pounds. Like you going back would be a letdown, not just
Not
to
happening.
yourself, but
Not happening no
so
matter what.
so does that provide some level of motivation to like, I gotta save face if nothing else?
I guess I never really thought of it that way. I just don't want to have to buy all those extra clothes. Maybe I'm not sure the reason why. So, what brought you onto your journey? Emotional energy healing. Like, why? How did you get there, Felicia?
Well, it didn't start there, of course, because my background is in business management
Hmm,
and I worked in corporate settings. I worked at the university where I graduated for like 8 years. I was an event planner
wow.
um and so it wasn't my goal, but I was laid off from Travelocity.
Ooh,
And in the meantime of being laid off, I was like, okay, I got to find another job. And I started to apply to jobs where face should have been right next to the job description.
hmm,
I was the perfect person for the job, but no one would call me. No one would reach out to me during that time. And also during that time, my children, I have 4 children, they all had eczema. And I started to take them to the doctor. They were using all these kind of creams. Nothing was working. It was getting worse. And I became really, really frustrated. So I started to look into holistic care and how to
hmm.
heal things on a holistic level. So I became really interested in holistic care. And so at the same time this was happening, an office manager position came open at a holistic center. So I said, this is perfect. I'm going to apply for this job. And it was 2 blocks down the street from where I lived.
Wow.
I applied, got the interviewed, hired on the spot. Hired on the spot. So I started working there and I absolutely hated it.
Hmm.
I was the worst office manager ever. It was horrible. I was a horrible office manager and I would sometimes cry on my job like I hate this. I do like I just took the like a ADHD test when I was 47, like so a couple of years ago. I had 6 of the 7 markers for
Wow.
ADHD. Like my ability to focus and concentrate is just horrible. So I wanted to quit. I'm a year in. I wanted to quit. But let me tell you one thing I was really good at my job. When people would check out from seeing the naturopath, people would stop and talk to me, tell
Hmm.
me their life story. I would be over in the corner praying and crying with people, giving them advice, giving them, motivating them, encouraging them with their health. I was really good at that, but I just couldn't manage the office. So this is a true story. I was about to quit one day. I was getting ready for the staff meeting. Somebody was checking out, and she looked down at my desk that was just covered and stacked with papers. And I looked up at her, and she had a look of disgust on her face.
Wow.
Okay. And I knew what she was thinking. She was disgusted, and I was disgusted. And then I said to myself, I'm quitting today in the staff meeting.
Hmm.
I'm giving my 2-week notice. I can't do this. And a false sense of peace overcame me.
Wow.
I was like, that's it. So we're sitting in the staff meeting now, and I am calm as a cucumber. I have no input, nothing to say. I'm just waiting to the end to say, hey, 2 weeks notice. But then the naturopath said, one last thing. I noticed that I really cannot handle working with people in their health and their emotional state. Felicia, I want you to look into some emotional healing modalities. I want you to get certified because people really open up to you. And I'm going to hire a new office manager and I want you to be an emotional release specialist.
Wow.
I knew right then that that was the reason I was there. And I trained as an emotion code practitioner. And then I also then did body code practitioner. And I worked there for 5 more years. And then I worked at another holistic center for 3 years. And now I've been working on doing it for myself for 5.
So tell me about the training. What did it teach you?
It was through Dr. Bradley Nelson, is the emotion code practitioner. And there's a lot of different emotional healing modalities that are out there, but I chose that one. And so it's an online program that you go through, and then you have to work with, I think, 20 people and 4 animals, to
Hmm.
clear their emotions, go through their testing, and then you become certified. And then I also went to their 2 of their in-person trainings in Las Vegas too, as well, to just get more in-depth in personal training. So I've been certified for 13 years with emotion code, and with body code I've been certified for, I think, 9 years. Yeah.
You said with 20 people and 4 animals. What are you doing with these people and animals?
Well, what we do is we energetically connect with people. So,
Mm.
we're all vibrational beings, spiritual beings, and we can connect to each other energetically. And so I connect and I muscle test. I use kinesiology to muscle test. And I have a list of emotions, negative, low vibrational emotions, and I can identify specific emotions that can be trapped within a person's body. And one of the things I specialize a lot in is really energy that's trapped around the heart, or emotions that's trapped around the heart. And they can be emotions that are trapped in the body from really your mother's womb all the way up until now.
Hmm.
And then we identify what those emotions are, and we can use magnets. We can sometimes really just use intent. We can use our hands, rubbing it from the front of the head to the back, and it helps to neutralize that energy within the body. So it doesn't mean that a person they'll never feel heartache again, depression again, sadness again. But what it does is it neutralizes that buildup of energy within the body. Does it make sense what I'm saying?
It does. Now, are these people you're talking to in distress and they need it, or do they like what are the condition of the people that you work with? And when you were working with these 20 people and 4 animals?
Well, this is in my first initial training
I
is
see.
working with them. And so in the training, we had to specialize and focus on emotions that are trapped around the heart. And that can take 3 to 4 sessions, because
Wow.
we could take a lifetime a lifetime of having energy trapped around the heart. And so it's a wall that people have. And a lot of people, even if they're not even into, what some would consider this woo-woo stuff, when it is explained, everybody seems to understand it.
Hmm.
People know what it feels like to feel heavy, depressed, stuck, feel trapped, feel like I got this issue, I just can't get past it. People are easily able to recognize I have a pattern in my life. I don't know why that pattern is there. I don't know how to break it.
Hmm.
Or I feel numb. They can feel like I should feel happy and I'm in a good place in my life, but I feel nothing. Or I feel too much and I don't know how to regulate my emotional state. And so when people come to me, they always seem to understand the explanation of what I'm sharing, because feelings are universal, emotions are universal, and we all have, even though we all have, different scenarios and things that happen in life, difficulty, trauma, tragedy, struggle, we can all relate to that.
Hmm.
And I don't care what race, what nationality, what economic status, difficulty, trauma, the dark night of the soul hits us all at some point in our life.
Felicia, you said emotions around the heart. Like, give me an example of what an emotion could be around the heart versus another organ.
Okay. So emotions around the heart, we definitely want to focus around the heart, because the heart, the energy system, the chakra of the heart is what connects our upper energy systems, our upper
Ah.
chakras, to our lower chakras. And so the heart is like the seat of the soul. It is
Hmm.
the aspect of us that is really creating our reality. It's almost like that scripture in the Bible that says to guard our heart, for out of it flows all the issues of life. It's
Wow.
not what we think up here that is manifesting and creating our reality. It's what we truly feel within our heart. It is really the core system of our subconscious, and our subconscious is running everything. This right here is not running as much as we think it is.
Hmm.
Okay. It is the software system of the body, it is the spirit. it is the subconscious. And that is being filtered out by how we truly feel about our reality. We can say all day long, I am healthy, wise, abundant, and blessed. But if we truly don't feel it, then our life doesn't necessarily vibrate and manifest that out and then attract back the same to us. Does that make
Hmm.
sense what I'm saying?
So give me an example.
So I'm gonna give you an example. So when we have emotions trapped around the heart, and a lot of times too, this can happen within childhood. We can experience things within childhood, and when we were children we thought as a child, but when we become an adult we can say, hey, if you came in, you brought something to your father and you were like, dad, look at this, and dad was like, I don't have time for that right now, I'm busy. The child can interpret that as, I'm abandoned, I'm not loved, they don't have time for me. And so the child, in an effort to protect itself, will then have the trapped emotion of abandoned seated in the heart.
Hmm.
As the child gets older and grows older, they can say, hey, I know dad was so busy growing up, it's okay. But the little child can still be in there and the heart space can be holding on. And that sense of abandonment can reverberate out into adulthood.
Wow.
So it can show up later in life to saying, hey, I experienced abandonment before. So I'm going to dump that person before they can dump me.
Hmm.
It can then, if they have abandonment issues, then we can easily self-sabotage. But
Wow.
we're making those decisions from an adult perspective, but it can still always be the child on the inside that experienced that abandonment or rejection
Hmm.
or heartache. Does that make sense what I'm saying?
Yeah, we're talking about trauma, correct?
Yeah. Trauma, and this trauma that is being expressed through emotions. Our emotions, like we can experience trauma, and a lot of times it depends how it can affect people differently based off of their perspective. You and I can go through the same trauma. You can take that trauma and you can use that trauma to elevate you to say,
Hmm.
hey, I understand it. I'm not going to go through this again. I'm going to move past it. And then that same trauma can send me down a dark slope into a state of depression that I've been in for 20 years. You know what I mean? So trauma can impact us differently, but our
Hmm.
emotions, how we feel, how we think about the trauma is what's really creating how we're responding to it. So when we can identify some of those specific emotions that is tethering us to the trauma experience, it gives us the ability to release that trauma more, to understand it, to transmute the energy and the experience from the trauma, and to use it to elevate us.
Hmm. I want to go back to this. I don't want to forget, but you said you work
Mhm.
with 20 people and 4 animals. How did you work with animals to discover their trauma?
Well, animals have lots of feelings too.
Hmm.
And I'm gonna be honest, I am not a friend of the furries, but I had to do
That's
it for
it.
my certification. Okay. And so I did meet with two dogs, a cat, and a horse. And so animals do have feelings. And so I do it with the permission of the owner. I connect with the pet. And not just when I connect with people or connect with animals, I just do it in like a moment of silence. And I just say, I connect with this person, with Juju, whoever it is, the pet, in mind and heart and spirit for their highest and greatest good. I
Hmm.
connect with them energetically in mind and heart and spirit for their greatest good. And what I'm doing is I'm allowing their energy field to come into my energy field.
Hmm.
And a lot of times I'll feel the connection. It'll be like a pop in my neck where I'll feel the connection or I'll really feel their energy come into my energy field. And then I'll muscle test. And I'll just say, hey, is there a trapped emotion within this pet that is creating, imbalance? Because trapped emotions can impact us on a physical level, spiritual level, emotional level, mental level. Okay. And so this particular pet that's coming to mind now, I connected with him and he had the trapped emotion of what was it? What was it? think it was depression, something along the lines of depression
Hmm.
or, oh, what is it? He had the feeling that whatever the emotion was, I can't remember the exact one, but it was something along the lines of depression. And he had this trapped energy. And I asked the owner, I said, has something happened recently, where he felt responsible for something. And she had divorced. Her and her husband had divorced. And
Ah.
this caused this pet to become depressed. And in this state of depression, then it started to get sick, started to get this upset stomach. And she had taken it to the vet. No one could really figure out what was going on. But what was going on is that this pet felt as if it had contributed to, just like many children can sometimes feel when their parents divorce, this is my reason, is it because of me? This pet had a similar emotion, and it was then impacting their livelihood. It was then started to impact their health too as well. And so we did an energetic release using a magnet to just run it from the top of the head down to the tailbone, and that helps to clear that energy from the body.
Hmm.
Then I just gave ideas to the owner to really just embrace the pet, to say, hey, this is not your fault, all is well, you are loved by me, your daddy, or
Hmm.
your the male owner or whatever. And so it can help to nurture the pet back to the state of wholeness.
Hmm. Felicia, do you consider yourself empathic or an intuitive?
Absolutely. And doing this work has enhanced it
Right.
greatly
Wow.
because I think I've always been a little bit intuitive, but doing this work, I've become even more so. And so I can sometimes connect with people. One of the biggest things that I can do is I can feel other people's pain, confusion, and I'm able to articulate it back to them in a way. So a lot of my
Wow.
clients be like, "Oh my gosh, like they couldn't say it any more clear." Like you ever have an experience where you don't have the words to express what you're thinking, what you feel, what you want, or what's bothering you. When I connect with people, I'm able to hold that energy, and then I'm able to articulate it out to them
Hmm.
how you are feeling. This is what you're thinking. And that itself, that deep level of being understood, can be very healing for people by
Right.
itself. And so it definitely has increased that. But it also has increased my ability to connect with people energetically. So sometimes when there's things out of balance within their physical body, or within their chakra systems, I can sometimes feel it within my body. If there's a deep seed of sadness, I can feel that deep seed of sadness.
Wow.
If it's ancestral trauma, I can sometimes feel the weight of the ancestral trauma. So sometimes when I have sessions with people, I need a break afterwards. I need to go
Wow.
outside and ground. I need to pull my energy back to myself and release it. And this is one of the reasons why I'm in 2026, I'm transitioning out of doing so many emotion code sessions.
Hmm.
I've been doing it for 13 years now, and it has made me very sensitive to energy. And I think my body needs a break.
Hmm.
So I'm doing more, starting in January, more women's healings retreats, breath journeys, and still doing transformational life coaching. I'm just going to do less of the emotional release because it's taxing on my
Yeah.
body. Yeah.
And you mentioned you're almost 50. So did you although you look a lot younger by the way, did
Thank
you
you.
feel it as a child, this intuitive, this kind of connection with others?
I don't know if I would have called it
Hmm.
intuitive, but I have always been able to really connect with people, or people have always come to me and share so many things with me, pour their spirit, their
Hmm.
what they're going through out with me. And I remember sometimes I would used to work at the university, and people would come to my office and sit down and tell me everything. I mean, things that, why are
Really?
you telling me this? I don't know what to do with this information. And I think because I am an empath, people just energetically can sense that I can offload. I'll be heard. I will be seen when they come into my energy. Feel it's just something that I've always been able to do. So people can pick up on that. And
Wow.
sometimes I have clients that don't even want emotional release. They just want to talk to me because sometimes just in talking to me, people are able to clear a lot just through the communication. Because my energy field has become somewhat of absorbent and able to transmute energy.
Wow.
It absorbs, transmutes to a higher vibration. So sometimes people just want to talk. And
Hmm.
they're like, okay, all right, I know what to do now. I'm like, okay, I didn't even say nothing.
Does everyone have some level of trauma?
I don't know if I would say trauma. I would say we all may have some level of definitely some trapped emotions that have
Mm.
not been transmuted or healed or processed fully. I wouldn't necessarily say trauma because some people, I just have a client, I'm going to have my last session with her tomorrow. She has lived the most calm, peaceful life. I don't know.
Oh,
As much as
nice.
I've worked with her, it's like I can't think of anything she's really done that has brought upon a level of trauma in her life. But we've all gone through some difficulty. We've all gone through some level of stress. We've all experienced some emotions that don't feel good.
Hmm.
Do you know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
so I do see that most of us, all of us, have experienced some difficulty because we need to. On a soul level, on a human experience, we want to feel the ebbs and flows. We
Hmm.
want to feel the difficulties and the ups and downs because this is what expands us and causes us to grow. We want to experience that. If everything was just good, if everything was just chilled, if there was no trauma or difficulty, there wouldn't be a lot of space for growth, for expansion, for learning, for understanding, for elevation. We need that for soul growth.
Felicia, is suffering optional?
I believe it is. Um, Suffering is based off of how we are perceiving a situation and a circumstance.
Hmm.
Now, I do believe that unless we come here to this planet as a totally evolved soul, that in this human life, we do have to learn how to dance with suffering till we can evolve to a place where it is an option to us, if that makes sense what I'm saying. So in the beginning of experiencing suffering, unless a person has a very already elevated, enlightened mindset, they may have to still experience it a little bit before they can determine that this is an option, how I'm perceiving this. Even when it comes to physical suffering. Now, when I say this, I am coming from a place of what I believe, not what I know,
Hmm.
because I'm a person that has a very low pain tolerance and I do not like pain. So, I'm just saying this from a perspective of what I believe. And I do believe that even as it relates to physical pain or even pain within a relationship, pain just within life and suffering, we can elevate our mindset to perceive that suffering as learning, as optional. We can learn how to anchor and ground ourselves in peace with all that is. And in that shifting of the mind, and in that aligning the mind with the heart space, then we can alleviate suffering because we no longer perceive it as suffering.
Hmm.
We can choose to alchemize it and perceive it as learning, wisdom. We can perceive it as resilience. We can perceive it as deeper truth that I am coming into. We can perceive it as a lesson that I'm here to learn. And in that perception, we can shift our energy field from receiving it as suffering to receiving it as expansion,
Hmm.
growth, opportunity, strength, resilience, power.
What if discipline wasn't about punishment, but about unlocking your best self? I spent 2.5 years writing Discipline for Greatness because discipline changed my life. And I know it can change yours too. This isn't theory. Inside, you'll find real, practical steps you can use immediately to focus better, build stronger habits, reduce stress, accomplish your goals, and bring more balance to your life. Whether you're trying to get healthier, improve your career, or simply feel more control, this book gives you the framework. Start today. Grab your copy of Discipline for Greatness at joeypinz.com/book. Thank you.
Oh, absolutely. It's an option.
Your mission is impressive to help others realign and reclaim their emotional stability and step fully into their spiritual essence. How did you arrive there, Felicia?
Well, I think our emotions, when we lack emotional stability, we make a lot of decisions based off our emotions and how we feel.
Hmm.
And sometimes our emotions, I won't say that they are lying to us, but they don't have all of the picture. But sometimes whatever we're feeling, whatever our emotions are, that becomes our world. It becomes our reality. If I'm feeling down, depressed, if I got this heartache, if I got this trauma, if I got this abandonment, if I have this depression, this fear, that emotion can overtake us. Okay. And so when we learn to harmonize with these emotions, when we learn to understand, why am I feeling this way? What is the story behind this emotion? Is this emotion even mine?
Hmm.
Did I inherit this from my mother and my father? And when we seek to explore the emotion, be curious about it, opposed to taking it on and then acting out in it, when we take responsibility for ourselves and our emotions, become curious about it, then we can become more stable in our emotional well-being. We can then perceive the messages of the emotions opposed to just and respond to them opposed to just reacting in them.
Hmm.
And when we do that, we're powerful beings, because we can never get away from our emotions. We can never get away from our feelings. We are emotional beings unless we get on some strong drink or some strong drugs.
Hmm.
Okay. But as soon as that high comes down, what's there to greet us and to meet us with a vengeance? Yet again, our emotions, our feelings are there. So the more we can harness them, observe them, understand them, question them, and integrate them, when we do that and take responsibility for them, no one is making us feel a certain way. No one is making us mad, making us angry, making us sad. No
Hmm.
one's doing that. Something is happening outside of us. We are interpreting it based off of our mental state. Our experiences in life are being filtered through that. And then we're feeling a certain way about it. And then we're responding to it. But the
Hmm.
more we can become stable in our emotions, take full responsibility for our emotions and feelings, then we're able to really align with our higher self, our soul's essence, the part of us that is calm, that is at peace, the part of us that is eternal. We're able to align and ground ourselves in that space. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well said.
Yeah.
What is you? I heard you talk about elemental purification.
hmm
You teach that. What is that?
Yeah, elemental purification is using the elements, using fire, air, water, earth, using those four elements to bring healing into our energetic bodies.
Hmm.
So we are made of the earth. We will go back to the earth,
Hmm.
and our energy field can be purified, elevated, charged by these natural elements. But in our culture now, we are so inundated by electronics, being in the house all the
Mm.
time, being in square rooms all the time, being
Hmm.
on the computer, being watching TV, doing things that are not connected with the elements. So we can use things like fire, air, earth, water to cleanse our energy body that gets really congested with a lot of the electromagnetic waves, get really stuck with a lot of these emotions that we're feeling that are not being processed, really getting stuck and stagnant by having conversation and communication with friends, family that is really congesting our energy field. So we can use things like the earth, where this is a good one. If people feel like they're overthinking, over processing, where they mind is caught up in a loop, one of the best things you can do is to go outside, put your feet in the ground, and even to, if you want to add something onto it, get a sage stick and burn
Hmm.
sage and go around your head with sage while you are standing on the earth. It will clear all of that overthinking, over processing, and bring you into a state of calmness. If a person is dealing with a lot of anxiety, and a lot of times when we deal with anxiety, a lot of times we hold it within our upper stomach or even sometimes within our heart. A person can light a flame, light a fireplace, get up close and feel the heat, and that heat will burn up within
Mm.
their auric field a lot of that anxiety, and it will calm that energy down. Water is my favorite element, and different elements work well with different people. So water may be my jam, going outside may be yours, okay? But water is my jam. I make spiritual baths where I use Epsom salt, Florida water, different essential oils. I use flower petals. I put it in my water. I soak in the water. I listen to music, and then I cleanse my energy field through water. And it really helps to reset the energy body that can get congested with all of this energetic hoopla that is going on really all over the world. There's so much energetic disruptions that
Mm.
we are experiencing that's disrupting our energy field. And so we can use these elements to cleanse it and to clear it. Using air, using breath work. Breath work is one of the most powerful tools that we can use to reset our body and our mind and our energy field. And which is what has caused me to dive into breath work and to now start offering them as breath work journeys where you are breathing a certain pattern for 45 minutes to an hour, and it can totally shift your overall well-being. It can clear your energy field, make room for new ideas, new thoughts, new vibrancy to come into the body by shifting it out through breath work. It's powerful. It's going to be a game changer for many people who need healing. And I think a lot of the things like, I think talk therapy is awesome and
Mm.
amazing and needed and necessary. But now that we have tools like breath work and we have tools like emotional cleansing and clearing of the energy field, these tools can be used simultaneously with talk therapy that is really helping people to heal faster, quicker, and going to another stage of being, opposed to going to talk therapy for 10, 15 years. You
Mm.
know what I mean? We can shift a lot faster now.
I heard a terrible statistic how the average American is spending more time looking at their phones on social media than they are sleeping.
Yes, it's true.
Horrible.
It's addictive. It's very addictive.
It is.
It is.
I like what you said also about walking out in the grounding. I like to go out and do sit-ups and push-ups and on the grass with no shoes on,
Yeah.
and just feel it. And it does much more than the exercise. I don't know what's happening there, but you
Yeah.
just feel connected.
Well, the earth itself resonates at a vibration and a frequency of 528. It is a vibration and a frequency of peace. And
Mm.
so when we take our earth and put it next to the earth, we're able to absorb and receive from the
Hmm.
earth that vibration, that frequency into our biomagnetic field.
Wow.
So, especially if we were to lean up against a tree, if we were to sit down, put our tailbone onto the ground, particularly up against a tree, because the deeper the roots go into the ground,
Hmm.
then the more vibrancy that can come up from those trees. And we're putting our root chakra down onto the ground, and then it's aligning us vibrationally with higher vibration. Okay. And so going outside and putting our earth to the earth is deeply healing to the energetic body. And if the energetic body is experiencing healing, wholeness, then it then merges into our more dense self, which is the physical body too, as well.
Hmm. Seems so simple, right? And
It
it's
does.
free,
But you know what? A lot of us are not using these
right?
free, simple things.
Mm,
We rather go to the doctor, have to get a
mm,
prescription, take a
mm,
drug that got 20 side effects, opposed to I'm gonna go outside and every day I'm gonna take a 20-minute walk
mm.
to help with my anxiety. Do you
Even
know
the
what I mean?
studies on morning sunlight are incredible, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. It really does help to reset our circadian rhythm. And
Mm,
so, one of the things that's really impacting us is our phones being exposed to this false light so much. So, it sends false statements as it comes through the eyes, especially first thing in the morning, is telling us, sending this false light to the eyes. If we get up first thing in the morning, sit and look at the sunlight. It's best to be outside, but if we can't, sometimes I'll just open my door, just sit in the light, let it come through as soon as it's coming
mm,
up. It does help to reset our circadian rhythm because a lot of our rhythm is off. And that circadian rhythm is what keeps us in flow with nature. But because we've gotten so out of sync with nature,
mm,
that it can impact our sleep. It impacts the systems of the body and how they're operating. They're not able to operate in the sync with nature because we have become so out of alignment with it. We go to bed at 1 o'clock in the morning. We get up still at, 9 o'clock, or, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock for some of us, or 12. And so we're out of sync with nature. Yeah.
Felicia, has there been anything in the last month or so that you've changed your mind on?
Joe, why are you in my business? Why are you asking these? Yes, let me tell you.
Please.
So, one of the things I have changed my mind on, um, I don't know if you're familiar with the Akashic records or not.
I'm not.
You never heard of the Akashic records?
I think I may have heard, but
You
please
ever
remind me.
heard of Edgar Casey, the
Yes.
sleeping prophet?
I've heard. I don't know much about. Assume I know
Yes.
nothing.
So the Edgar Casey, the sleeping prophet, I think it was back in the early 1900s, was able to go into a deep meditative state, gather information from what's called the universal database, or the subconscious of the planet, the world, and is able to connect with somebody energetically, vibrationally, and tell them what's going on in your body, what's going on within your physical body. So if you look it up, he has a website. He's passed away, of course, but he has a foundation out that has all of the thousands upon thousands of his readings. Well, my husband connected me with a couple 10 years ago that does Akashic readings, where they're able to connect with the Akashic records and give you insight on your health and well-being, give you insight on your business, give you insight on really anything that's going on within your world, your relationship, and they give you insight from a spiritual soul perspective. So one of the things I've changed my mind on, I recently had one done for my business, which is Get Unstuck with Felicia, because I'm changing my platform and my business. And I don't know if you've ever gone through, you're changing how you serve or you're going to change how you show up. There's resistance, a lot of resistance that I'm feeling because I can always fall back on emotion code and body code. I've been doing it for, 13 years, but now I know my spirit is calling me to do more, and I feel a lot of fear. I've been very distracted intentionally because I'm afraid to step out on what I really feel my heart wants to do.
Hmm.
So in the last month, I have been facing my fears. I have been exploring my own emotions around
Wow.
why do I resist change? Why do I resist growth? This is really what I want. I want to grow. I want to expand.
Hmm.
Why am I resisting that? And I've been exploring some of those things. And what I've learned, I got some childhood issues with trust, trust as it relate to my father, who how we view our relationship with our father has a great impact on how we view and have trust for other people.
Hmm.
So then me exploring that also helped me to recognize I lack some trust in myself. If I really make this change, can I trust myself to stay consistent and stay disciplined until I create different structures that can sustain this business, or do I just stay where I'm no longer comfortable?
Hmm.
But it's more comfortable than trying something new. Do you know what I mean? So I've been doing emotional healing work on myself. I am a teacher and a student all at the same time,
Getting
all the
un-
time.
getting uncomfortable with being uncomfortable is tricky.
It is. Sometimes, though, it depends on my mood. It can feel
Hmm.
exciting
Hmm.
being uncomfortable because that goes back into that, you know, that the question you asked about suffering is suffering a choice?
Right.
Is this discomfort a choice? Like
Hmm.
now, I'll give an example. The other day, I just had hired a virtual assistant because technical stuff is not my strong suit.
Hmm.
I'm an amazing coach. I'm amazing at breathwork journeys. I'm amazing at the spiritual things, but when it comes to the technical things, listen,
Hmm.
I'm a doofus. Okay, so I finally hired a virtual assistant, and I was sitting down struggling to even come up with the plan necessary. And I felt so overwhelmed. I felt so overwhelmed that I could feel it's almost like I could feel it outside of my body. It was so thick. But what I did was I thought, well, I feel this overwhelmed and I leaned into it. Sometimes when we feel resistance, we want to lean into the resistance opposed to, oh my gosh, I feel so overwhelmed. I'm so tired of this. And I could have distracted myself and put
Hmm.
on one of my good shows. I love The Good Doctor. You ever watch The Good Doctor?
I know it. Yes.
It's such a good show. I had to get Hulu off of my TV because I'm like, The Good Doctor is going to keep me from becoming the best version of myself because it is my go-to distraction with 7 seasons, okay? So I had to turn it off. But I decided to sit in that overwhelm and to feel it. And then I just started to say to myself, this overwhelm, it could be excitement if
Hmm.
I allow it to be. So I started to just move my hands and I was like, I just released this overwhelm and I transmute it to excitement.
Hmm.
I release my overwhelm and transmute it to excitement.
Hmm.
And guess what I started to feel?
Relief.
Excitement.
Ah.
I started to feel good. I'm like, this is good.
Hmm.
I'm going to have somebody working for me doing the things that I hate to do. I'm going to be able to be in my place of genius. This transition is necessary. It feels difficult right now, but it's going to feel great once me and her get synced. She understands me. She's going to be able to just think for me and do whatever all that needs to be done. And I transmuted that overwhelmed feeling to excitement. And in doing that, I was able to get my agenda done that was needed for the
Hmm.
next day. I leaned into it opposed to feeling it, getting distracted, and going the opposite way.
What is your position on astrology?
I like it. I do listen to it here and there because I do think it plays a great role in us understanding ourselves better. I am a Sagittarius. I know that according to my life path, which does, it's not astrology, but it does use your birthday. It does use your, when you were born, where you were born. So I'm a life path 5. Do you know what your life path is?
I think it's 6.
You're 6? I'm a 5. And let me tell you something. When I found out that I was a 5 is in this life, I am here to cultivate a sense of responsibility
Hmm.
and discipline, because what I truly desire in this life is freedom.
Mm,
That's a true statement. I want financial freedom. I want freedom in my time.
mm,
I like freedom. I'm a Sagittarius and we like to be free. However, I cannot experience that freedom without discipline.
hmm,
Guess what I hate? Discipline.
mm.
I resist discipline. I resist structures. So who did I marry? The most disciplined man in
Ha!
the world? My husband is the most disciplined person I have ever met in my life. Okay. And so I am here to learn that. And the freedom that I seek in life on a deep soul level, I cannot experience it without discipline and self responsibility.
Mm,
So, knowing what my life path is, knowing and understanding that helps me not to experience it so much as suffering, because I can experience it as, wow, this is a soul lesson that my life is here to have. So I can go into this knowledgeably, intentionally, to cultivate a life of structure. And wow, I have a loving partner who can is always wanting to show me how to create structure in every area of my life. And I still resist it
hmm,
and harmonize with it. Him and I have this flow in our relationship where he challenges me, and I hate it and love it all at the same
mm,
time,
mm, mm, mm.
because it's pushing me to grow. It's making me better. I'm a slow learner and a slow student, but I'm learning and growing from it. And so also knowing that according to my human design, I'm a manifester. Manifestors, there are four different human designs, and that comes also not so much from astrology, but it's that same concept. And I'm a manifester. Manifestors make up 8% of the population.
Hmm.
Until I learned this years ago, I always wanted to be a generator. I've lived most of my life trying to be a generator. Okay. And so, for those who are listening, you can always go to human design, put in your birthday,
I've done
where
this.
you were
Yes.
born, what
Yeah.
time you were born, and it'll let you know. And you will find out so much about yourself. But what I learned is I've been spending most of my life trying to be a generator. Why? Because generators get shit done.
Mm,
Okay, they are active, they are getting things done, they are can keep going, going, going. As a manifester, I don't operate like that at all. Manifestors are able to gather up thoughts and ideas and create them and bring them to, not even bring them to fruition, but manifestors need to be connected with generators, because we're able to hold a vision, pass a vision on, and then the generators bring it to reality. As a manifester, I have big ideas, big dreams. I will do step one, and then I'm already off to a whole nother idea.
mm,
It's hard for us to hold one thing because we're highly creative. We bring those things out and we need to be connected to generators who then bring that vision to fruition.
hmm,
So learning those things about myself, understanding my Sagittarius energy, my life path, what life cycle I'm in and currently in, using that information as a human designer, those things are helping me to understand myself better, and kind of pretty much sometimes I feel like I'm cheating
hmm,
because these are like cheat codes, so to speak, to truly understand the self more, and then to consciously navigate through life, intentionally navigate through life, having some idea of what's the energy of this year that's supporting me. What is my life path and what is my soul really trying to acquire? Do you understand what I'm saying? So those are great tools.
I like what you said about discipline, which brings me, we talked about it before. I was starting
Mhm.
my business back in the 90s. I gained a lot of weight, wasn't exercising properly. Doctor says I'm at 340 pounds. He said, if you don't lose this weight, you're not going to see your daughter graduate. So that was the real thing that scared me, Felicia. That's why, I said, okay, I can abuse myself all I want and not eat properly and drink all this soda, but now I have this family. So I lost, like you said, about 130 pounds in about 6, 7 months, kept it off. And people ask me how, and I always say discipline. I just give motivation, focus. But it's interesting when you say discipline, you say that your husband has discipline because it's you look at it as structure, whereas you thrive on freedom. So you see it as combative, as opposites. So is that how,
Restriction.
yeah, as restrictions? Is that still how you look at discipline, as restrictive?
Yes, because I have not fully evolved.
Come on.
it's,
I find
it's
that hard to believe.
okay. So consciously, do I get it? Yes, I do.
Mm,
I get it. I understand. Just like masculine energy creates structure, it creates a foundation. Feminine energy creates the beauty, the freedom, and
mm,
all of that. And I
mm,
flow in that space. But without the structure that my husband creates in my life, I wouldn't even be able to do the things that I do now. I wouldn't be able to serve in the way that I serve now because he has created so much structure. So I
hmm,
value it. However, I still experience it in my heart as resistance,
hmm.
as keeping me from being free. I understand it here. I'm still working on getting it here so that I can operate in greater structure.
Wow.
I'm a work in progress.
Yeah, we all are. Felicia, I asked you about a month ago, but is there something 10 years ago that you believed in so firmly that you completely don't believe in now?
Yes, I I was going to be a minister.
Whoa.
Yes, I went to seminary. I graduated from college. I wasn't married at the time. I didn't have a kids. And I said, you know what? If I'm going to, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it now. So I
Hmm,
started going to Moody Bible Institute. I also went to Liberty because I grew up in church. My father was a minister. I loved going to church. And I remember sitting in church while I was in college. And I said, I want to be able to help people to heal as a minister in their emotions. Because, people, I don't know if you're familiar with church at all, people would go up to the front and they have health issues. They want to be
mm,
healed. And
mm,
I remember somebody going up, they wanted to be healed physically. And I remember praying, I said, I want to help people to heal emotionally because people are sad. Even in church, I just realized people were sad. And I
mm,
was like, but we're supposed to have so much freedom. We're singing about freedom. And I wouldn't sing songs in church about freedom
hmm,
because I never felt free. I always felt so restricted. So I wouldn't even sing them. But my belief system in religion has totally changed. And I died. It was almost like a death
hmm,
for me. And what happened was I ended up divorcing my first husband. And it rocked my world because I felt as a Christian, as a believer, and I was one of those believers that believed in the infallible word of God, meaning that every word was true. So I felt like I'm living what is supposed to be this holy life. I'm being a good wife, I'm being loving, I'm being caring, and my marriage has gone to shit. Something is not right.
hmm,
So, but in Christianity, you're told you never question God. You never
hmm,
question your beliefs. So I was raised in that way. So I feared even questioning what I believed, but my life wasn't lining up. And so one day I told God, I said, okay, I can't live this anymore because my life is not lining up to what this Bible says. So I'm going to start exploring things outside of Christianity. I'm going to start reading books. And if I go too far, catch me.
hmm.
But if you don't catch me, I'm going to dive out. So then that's when I started learning about energy healing.
Wow.
And I started learning about all these other, enlightened beings, some similar to Christ that lived on the earth, things I never would have explored. And it totally, totally changed and transformed my life. I still consider myself a Christian because I desire something to still anchor me. But my view on Christianity is really becoming more Christ-like, opposed to following the letter of the law. I follow the
Mm,
spirit of the law, and
mm,
I use that to keep me anchored. Because if not, I became too free. I
hmm,
became so free that everything was good and okay, and I needed something. So I just told God, I'm going to just use Christianity for what I believe religion is for, which is just to relink us to the divine. That's why there's so many different religions. They just relink us to the one that is.
Mm,
And so I just use that principle. But if you would have met me 10 years ago, for me to even say what I'm saying to you right now,
really?
you wouldn't have convinced me that I would have ever said anything like this,
Wow.
that I believe what I believe now, because it would have been blasphemous. I would have been praying for my soul's
Wow.
salvation. I'm a totally different person than I used to be.
And the difference between being religious and spiritual is?
Religion to me it can limit us to some dogma. It can limit us to the human perspective of God,
Mm, mm,
because the vastness to me of God cannot be contained in what man has created. We're only able to grasp so much of the vastness and the realization of God. And so spirituality to me is the awareness of that. It's the awareness of that. I am aware that I don't know shit. And I feel safe in not knowing that. And I'm okay because I'm a spiritual divine being that is eternal, and that I'm here to learn, grow, and expand. And I don't restrict myself to religious dogma that I know, that I believe to agree was created out of fear, out of control. I don't restrict myself to that anymore. And I set myself free.
there's
That
that
makes sense.
restriction and structure. You crave freedom.
I crave freedom. However, I do desire structure. That's why I still
Mm,
claim, I don't want to say claim, but I still live by Christian principles,
mm,
because to be totally free, or to be totally operating in my feminine energy, it doesn't make us whole when we are just operating in one essence and not the other.
mm,
We cannot truly be whole because we are masculine, we are feminine, we are freedom, we are structure. We really can't experience freedom fully, or I'll say discipline fully, if we don't allow ourselves also sometimes to be free, and
mm,
vice versa. We have to have those two components, or those totally different energies, and harmonize with them both in
mm,
order to be whole, because we are masculine feminine. We want to have discipline and freedom operating in us simultaneously, and harmonizing with them, and then moving in and out of them in different circumstances and situations as needed,
hmm.
because we are aligned with them.
What motivates you, Felicia?
What motivates? Oh, that's a good question. What motivates me now? What gives me drive? What I am passionate about is educating people on these topics, activating people, seeing people have those aha moments, so to
Mm,
speak, when they hear
mm,
something for the first time, where their soul recognizes something after it's been said. I am motivated by what is my soul's, I'm aware of, is my soul's mission now.
hmm,
It is my soul's mission. I feel very supported and very guided in activating people to become aware of their soul's essence, who they truly are. And doing this type of work is very motivating for me. Like, even talking about it now, I could feel my heart warms. I feel
mm,
warmth around my
mm,
heart, because now I'm finally accepting what my soul's mission is, and I'm delighting in it
hmm.
at the same time.
So, yeah, so I hear impact, I hear, movement, I hear, yeah. education. So, giving all that motivation, how do you measure success?
I could measure how I measure success. Ultimately, my desire is to have my own retreat center where I'm hosting annual women's retreats, many different Hape healing journeys there, where I am really serving and making an impact in the lives of women. At the same time, I can have somebody sit on my couch in my office like I did last week. And I don't even remember what it said because sometimes in my sessions, I literally do have what somebody would, it seems like the heavens open up and I channel messages
Hmm.
in my sessions sometimes. Sometimes I don't even remember what it says. Sometimes I be wanting to sit on the couch and take notes from myself because it be so good. The information that is flowing through is so good. But success to me also is sitting and watching someone's eyes open up to a realization that they're having in a moment. And they're deciding, I'm going to use this information and it's going to change my life. That's success to me too.
Hmm.
I feel I don't think my success of speaking and talking to 500 people is no different than success of me talking to one
Hmm.
that has that realization. I is success either way. Reaching that ultimate goal or just being here.
Want to show your love for discipline, inspiration, and the Joey Pinz podcast? Now's your chance. Introducing the brand new Joey Pinz merch store, where style meets discipline. Choose from premium apparel, cozy hoodies, stylish hats, durable bags, and your new favorite coffee mug, all featuring the iconic Joey Pinz logo. Perfect for podcast fans, discipline enthusiasts, or as unique gifts for friends and family. Every purchase supports the Joey Pinz Discipline Conversations podcast, helping us continue to inspire greatness and promote positive change. Visit joeypins.com/store today and wear your discipline proudly. Joey Pinz merch. Wear it, share it, and live it. Well, Felicia, I love what you're doing. I love your passion, and you're so genuine. You could tell you love what you do, and you're helping people, doing it for a long time. I really, really appreciate your time today. Anybody watching or listening wants to get in touch with you, how can they do so?
Yeah, they can just go to my website, FeliciaGarrett.com. That's FeliciaGarrett.com. And people can book a free consultation with me. And because I never have sessions with people without first seeing if I can help you, seeing what
Mm,
your problem is, and seeing if what I have to offer can help you. So I do free 45-minute consultations. And I do have some women retreats coming up. The first one is January 8th through the 11th, and it is a women's detox retreat. So we're going to be detoxing the physical body, the emotional body through some breath work. We're going to be doing some intermittent fasting, lymphatic massage, foot detoxes. So we're going to be doing some amazing things, and that's all on my website too as well.
I thank you so much for your time, Felicia. Great pleasure. Next time I'm in the greater DFW area, perhaps you and your husband and I will get a cup of tea.
Absolutely. A cup of tea. I'm trying to switch from coffee to tea.
Hmm.
I'm trying to become a tea girl.
I say I never had a cup of coffee my whole life, believe it or not.
What?
Yeah, never. Yeah.
Coffee and I have a loving relationship.
Most people
I
do.
feel like I'm cheating on coffee right now.
You
Well,
be
I
well,
would love
Felicia.
thank you, thank you.
Bye now.
Bye.
Thank you for listening and or viewing Joey Pin's Discipline Conversations. Please share this episode with one or two of your friends who you think may benefit from the episode. Our website, www.joeypins.com. There you'll find lots of resources and you could join our mailing list. Please follow us on all our social media, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Podcast information, the video version of our podcast is on YouTube. Please subscribe. Audio is on all major podcasting platforms. Please follow them. And if you like it, please consider giving 5-star rating. Would really appreciate that. Thank you again for listening or watching Joey Pinz Disciplined Conversations.